Hey y'all, welcome to Life Will Be. I'm your host, Lydia T. Blanco. As always, I'm so grateful that you decided to tune in, listen, watch, carve out time, and spend this moment with me. I appreciate your time, your attention, and your investment in this way, right? Being in community with me. I am someone who has been doing my best to count it all as joy. But if I'm being honest with you all, as of lately, it's been difficult for me to be joyous. And I'm working on my gratitude and all of the things, but life is real. Life be lifing. And that's why we're here because life will be. But it is important for us to be intentional about finding joy and being joyful. That's what I want to talk about today with you all because if you're anything like me, and you're tuned in to what's going on in the world. You're handling and minding your business. You're in prayer, in therapy, journaling, doing your work, but you are still finding it difficult to be joyful. Pull up. I want to talk to you. Look, I am someone who practices gratitude, and I still am like, Lydia, what's going on? And I realize I have to be all the more intentional. I appreciate happiness, but I know that happiness is fleeting. It is an emotion that so many people chase, right? For the rush and for the experience and the satisfaction. What I want more than happiness, as important as that is to have unconditional joy. Earlier in the season, I spoke about being satisfied in transition. A big part of that is finding ways to have joy unconditionally, deep connection and deep satisfaction, a state of being, no matter the circumstances, because of gratitude. I want more of that. I want to talk about how we can explore that together, but also seek it in community, in our individuality, in our relationship with the Most High, spiritually, all the things because why not? Who doesn't want more joy in their life? I need more joy. I want that connection, you know, and joy unconditional, right? When things are not perfect, as I mentioned, and ways to inspire that and pursue it daily as a habit and throughout life, okay? Come on, sustainment. You know, I always got to start with gratitude, right? For the little things, waking up, having shelter and food, being able to wash your clothes, brush your teeth, have clean socks. You're probably like, what? No, seriously. I don't trust people who don't pray over their food. I mean, because have you ever been hungry? Have you ever needed more? Have you ever needed anything? And I know not everyone has had an experience where they have left, but even when you think about spiritual hunger and being grateful and just thanking Most High for what it is that you have, that brings me joy. It really does. I was putting some time on the washing machine the other day, and I just took a step back. I was like, thank you for clean clothes because living in New York City, traveling home to the Bay Area, and just walking the streets anywhere, you see those who do not have or those who have less. And it's something to give thanks for, right? Those daily practices. And it's not always about lack, right? Oh, because you lack something, because you don't have something, right? But it's about what you do have and practicing gratitude for that. that brings me joy. And it is one of the ways that I truly am practicing joy as a daily habit, even when things are bad. And I actually should have pulled up the scripture so that I could have been biblically sound. But you could do your own research. I appreciate you helping me out in that way. But there is a word in the Bible, and it talks about challenges that arise and how we are blessed when we are in difficult times, right? Because we are chosen. Oh my gosh. Let me see. Can I find it? I will call my sister and be like, Ashley, she be knowing the word. Like, back of her. Yeah. She was a part of the church, like deeply like on staff, and so I love the Lord, but cool. And so let me see. Yes, I'll look it up in real time. See if it, uh, okay, I'm not sure if this is actually the scripture I was referring to, but First Thessalonians 5 says, "Give thanks in all circumstances, for this is God's will for you in Jesus Christ." I'm gonna go with that one for now. And if you're listening, and let me know in the comments. But truly, you know, weeping may endure for a moment or a night, but joy comes in the morning, right? And so our experiences, and I always say this in some kind of way, right, is proof of something, evidence of something. And I think that enough of us have lived enough life to know that joy does come in the morning. But being intentional about living in that, practicing gratitude is paramount. You know, think about some of the ways in which I have been challenged and have struggled with joy, and it's because I haven't moved enough, right? I read my word daily. It's one of the ways that I keep myself moving in the world with the armor on spiritually, but also remembering to go out for a walk, okay? And take deep breaths. I have literally been finding solace and peace and joy in taking deep breaths. Also in ice water. I wasn't an ice water kind of girly year round. And I know we are officially in the fall, my favorite season. Fun fact about me. But ice water has been doing something for me in my nervous system, quite honestly. I haven't looked it up, you know, but there has been something about ice water that has been keeping me. I'm not even trying to be funny. I'm so serious. That and chewing ice. I don't know if I'm low in iron, but my nervous system, I am like so excited about the fact that it helps me in that way. Also, just chewing the ice brings me back to childhood, girlhood moments where I was just like chomping on ice. Okay. I'm so glad I've never broken a tooth or anything like wild, but I love chewing ice. I'm like, what? And like hospital ice, ice from Sonic, ice from Cookout. Like, if you know, you know. But it's the little things. You're like, ice and joy. How does that even go together? It's just this deep sense of appreciation. Truly, just like being out in nature, that stillness, the freshness of air and the aromas from the dirt to the trees and the little hints of wood that you get. It really does bring me peace and comfort and joy to know that there are so many things that are bigger than me and my circumstances. that are also a part of my reality. But it's about making time to be in those spaces and to remove myself from just my daily routine and my habits and my norms. I was reminded in therapy that I had to break some of those secular things and not be as mundane in my own life, in my own routines, right? I think we think about spaces sometimes, whether it be the workplace or whatever, and we're like, oh, this is so, and it's like, okay, but how in your everyday life, in your home, in your relationship, are you being intentional about creating other moments for yourself? Everything is not about everybody else. And I have to remember that for myself as well. I'm like, okay, Lydia, get out your head. Okay, get out the house. Get in nature. Let's touch some grass. I was waiting for my sister yesterday, and I was standing by like this greenery shrub, and I started to play in the leaves. And the part of me was like, wow, this is so peaceful. I was like, okay, Lydia, don't break them. I just want to crunch stuff sometimes for sensory needs. And then I stopped because I was like, okay, you know how growing up kids sit in bushes, so I don't have to get something here sanitizer. This is where my brain goes sometimes. But it felt so good just touching something real that was green and being outside and just taking the moment to pause. It helped. It really did. So I said all of that to say practicing mindfulness and being present is essential, right? It helps you break free of different worries, especially if it's someone who is often focused on the future and the past. I'm always thinking about my next move. It is something that I am working on, silencing my brain and being intentional about being present, being where my feet are, as I often say, and being kind to myself and being compassionate towards myself as well. When you're often being so hard on yourself, ain't no joy in that, okay? There is truly no joy in being hard on yourself unless you enjoy self sabotage, which I do not. I don't. And so talk to yourself gently. Give yourself the same grace that you give others. Be patient with yourself. I'm always reminding myself out loud or silently, patience, Lydia. Okay, take your time, slow down. Because I have a habit of moving fast. You know, I go from big city to big city and I'm trying to get things done and I work in a certain industry and I have to be sharp and all these things. And I'm like, okay, well, when are you going to slow down to actually enjoy that? Are you good? Have you stopped to touch, see, and feel and check in with yourself? Most times the answer is like, I can't remember. Probably because I did not. And so I have to work on that. So my next point is around play. I know in my big age, I love playing, not playing games, but playing outside. I love roller skating, an occasional random game of tag. Okay. I know you probably like, what? No, truly. I would try to race my cousins. Will I lose? Sometimes, depending on the age and if my legs are longer than theirs. But I love playing. It brings me so much joy. The little Lydia, oh, she'd be satisfied, especially if she wins a race on skates or, throws the ball heck of far. I'll be hyped. I'll be real hyped. And I'm super competitive. So it feels so good to satisfy my competitive needs, but also to just like run, sweat, trip, be silly, laugh loud, scream, all of the things. I love playing, and I'm honestly being more intentional about just playing. The other day, I was at Brooklyn Bridge Park by the water. I took my time. I parked, I sat and wrote some business ideas down. And then I was like, iced coffee, ice cream. I landed on a salad. Responsibilities, right? Do I get any taller or younger? And like, and so I saw the merry-go-round. I always see the merry-go-round. I think it is beautifully lit at night. During the day, it is always just like, wow, so enamoring. But I've never gotten on it. I've lived in New York 10 years. I love Brooklyn Bridge Park. I've never gotten on the merry-go-round. I think partly because I'm like, oh, is it too slow? Is it too long? Or whatever. But something overcame me. And I was like, you know what, Lydia? Get you a ticket, get on the merry-go-round, and have fun. And I did. It was a $3 activity. I want to say the ride was probably around 3 minutes. It was a good pace for me so that I didn't feel like nauseous. And it was everything that I needed. I had so much fun outside of like other parents on the rides with their kids. Yes, I was like the only adult riding solo. And the girl like manning the ride in the line with like these beautiful pink braids was like, girl, get on. I said, I know, girl, I'm gonna get on. And I did. And I had so much fun. I was smiling the entire ride and just really taking it all in. I was watching, the different bridges at the park. It was a beautiful day. And I was so glad that I actually did that. It was random and it felt good. I was like, wow, this only cost me $3. And I love the fact that I decided to do this by myself. And I said yes. I didn't care about how I looked to anyone else. I didn't care about the fact that I didn't have kids. I also didn't allow the fact that I don't have children, or have started a family of my own to be in that space to get to me. Can we talk about that for a moment? Because at 36, with all my hopes, dreams, aspirations, decisions, pursuits, it has not happened yet. And I honestly have to focus on the freedom, the blessings, in the current state that I'm in without focusing so much on the future state of what it is that I want or have been hopeful for, and live in that, accept that, find joy in that. I'm at a life stage where people are living their best familial lives, and I just admire it so much and all the things. And sometimes I've had the experience where I've stopped myself from doing certain things because I'm not in that life stage. I'm hopeful for it, I'm prayerful for it, but I'm sharing this because sometimes we have the tendency, or people can have the tendency to hold back and not enjoy things, self-eliminate because of what it is that they don't have. And it's just like, nah, enjoy that too. Show up, be grateful for others, celebrate others, and then just do the thing by yourself in this moment so you can know what it feels like to do it for yourself. I've had so many conversations with friends, acquaintances, and there are a lot of mixed experiences, right? And so I am often reminded to be grateful for where I am now. And while it may feel like, oh, this has not happened, remember all the things that are happening for you, all the liberties that you do have that others hope for and cannot enjoy because they are not single. I am unmarried and I do not have children. And that singleness is something that I am learning to appreciate daily. Not because of what I don't want, right? But because of what I do want and how I'm asking God to mature, heal, prepare, and position me for. I can only imagine, based on conversation, what I see, my observations, how so much of my time, resources, so on and so forth, will have to be shared. I don't want to say not mine anymore, right? Because I will always be mine, but will have to be evenly distributed, okay? And I know that while people are trying to even things out and find a balance, and when things are odd, they're trying to get even, it's hard. And so choose joy, right? And right now, choose yourself and choose the hard if you can, okay? I know some things are manufactured, other things are random, but it is what is. All right. So I talked about playing, but laughing and being silly is also important to me. Like, truly. I love a good corny joke. I love thinking of random songs, singing out loud, and singing my random songs and not being easily embarrassed. Being lighthearted is extremely important to me. You know, you got to know when to kind of dial it down and dial it up. But as serious as I am, I love a good kiki. And I cannot stand when people just walk around like they got a stick so far up, you know where, that they cannot enjoy anything. You know, even when times are hard or if I mid cry sometimes, I just am like, okay, I think there is something that I have to laugh about. And I'm not sure if you've ever had those moments before. You're like, oh, wow, am I okay? Yes, you are, right? Because joy, when it is in you and a part of your core, it can come out at any time. And that is the beautiful thing about it. That excites me. I'm like, yeah, that, I like that. Thank you, God, for joy. That is why it's important to find ways to sustain it because so many things are fleeting. So many things are fleeting. Having joy unconditional will keep you. It truly will. And so will being silly, knowing comedic timing. Okay? I was on the phone with my line sister and we were having an intimate conversation, and the timing of what she had just mentioned was impeccable. And we were really deep in conversation and we were talking about life transitions and that and the third, and the sound was made. And I wasn't gonna say nothing. And she did. And we started cracking up. But our ability to be lighthearted and to know what is appropriate and when and laugh with each other felt so good, right? Because you can trust joy, right? And when you can trust those who you are in community with, you can trust that you are always be able to have a good time no matter what is going on. Sierra, I love you, girl. Um, Now, this one is one that I am being judicious about, but it's something that I pride myself on as well. But I'm also learning how to receive. It's giving. It's giving and receiving. I get so much joy from being someone who gives, who is intentional about creating moments and experiences and sharing what generosity and me to go together real. But I'm also being very self-aware and mindful of how much I give, the place in which I am giving from, and allowing myself to receive. Because when you're always giving, it could be a positive thing, but it also could be a negative thing, right? Like, what are you doing? Why are you giving everything you have? Excuse me, cup's been dry, cracked, and broken for a long time. What are you pouring? Hello. And so I say that to say, while giving can bring you joy, be mindful of how much and what you give, but also learn how to receive. I am learning how to receive. I mean, from the smallest things to the biggest things. I'm like, wow. And receiving brings me joy. It does. It does. I'm excited about that. You love me. You showed me. Those things are key, honestly. Sure. Mm-mm-mm. Now, joy rituals. I want to talk about this a bit because when you think about sustaining anything, there has to be habits around what you believe and what you want to maintain. For me, being in community and in healthy relationships means that I need to have a dining table. Having a dining table and being able to arrange my flowers in a vase and be in good conversation with people brings me joy. Having a place where people can gather, that brings me joy. Those invitations, what? I love a good invitation. You have to create those moments, right? And so I keep greeting cards on file, a calendarized thing. I have an assortment of coffees and teas. My dining ware is taken care of very well, maintained, and it's not about the price point, but about respecting my things and respecting those who I invite over. So just making sure that things are well maintained, right? And having my coffee in the morning, right? Having tea at night. Both things bring me joy when I'm making tea for someone, when I'm, you know, enjoying and holding my mug and I'm warm. I'm like, okay. They are reminders of how I care for myself and as I take care of my possessions, express thankfulness for what I have. I believe that makes my world bigger and intimate at the same time. Joy, man. It's, I'm like, you know, it's real. Mm-mm-mm. I'm working down on my notes. What else do I want to say about joy, y'all? I think that with anything, you have to make it a priority so that you can experience more of it. And joy is one of those things. Making plans, being planful will create more joy in your life. It's not about being so routine that you become robotic, right? But you are truly making an effort to experience more of what it is that you want in your life for yourself, for your family, your friends, others in your community. That matters. Knowing that hard times don't last forever because of your belief, your faith with work, right? Hello, somebody. And just being like, finding ways to stay aligned so that how you live and what you believe create moments for you to experience fullness. You have to be so intentional about joy because it is so easy to become bitter, upset, and callous by the world, people, and places. Joy is your birth, but it also requires so much action. Okay? And belief. Hello. Hello, somebody. But find ways. Find ways to laugh more, to live more. Keep your promises to yourself. And find people who you can share your joy with. I know I've said quite a bit, but I too am putting this into practice. I'm like, let me get out on the trail. Let me do what I said I was going to do. Let me remember what I have. Let me take inventory. And let me be about me and my joy. It's not a selfish act, okay? I think joy is quite radical when it is shared with other people. Now Anita Baker is coming along. You bring me joy. Ooh, mhm. Joy can be sexy too, right? Yeah, I like that. But no, like, romanticize your life, and that will bring you joy, okay? Also, now I'm going on and on. Can't understand why I last so long. Okay, excuse me. This is how my brain works. I go from Anita Baker to Too Short. Maybe it's because I'm from the Bay. But I guess here are my last 2 points. Find ways to romanticize your life, become the love of your life, and know that you can get joy from your presentation and how you show up. There's nothing like walking outside or into a room and knowing that you've put your true essence and effort into who you are. Yes, that's confidence, but I also feel like that is joy unconditional because no one knows who you are, what you've been through, what it took for you to put in the effort that you did. But the fact that you chose to do that is joy. It's not performative when it comes from who you are at your core and your character, right? But it's just like, yeah, being beautiful as a form of armor, right? As you go into the world, like a man, woman, whatever the case may be, however you identify, knowing that you can tap into a different sense of joy because of how you choose to show up, that to me is just so beautiful, right? Finding the joy in beauty, being a beautiful person from the inside. It don't get no better than that, right? I mean, on top of all the daily practices and routines, talk about full package. I am trying to be a full package and always arrive on the right doorstep. Hello, somebody. And that requires joy unconditional. Look, I'm not going to belabor the point, but I do hope that you have gotten some of what you needed as you choose to just explore and live and all the things life will be. Be joyful, y'all, and be intentional about your joy. Okay? And if it doesn't bring you joy, well, let it go. Cut it off. Okay? I'm excited. And I'm like, okay, I'm about to go do something that brings me joy. It may include a little bit of ice cream, have fun, and quality time with loved ones. And I hope that you find something to do that brings you joy today as well. Until the next time, it has been real. Peace.